Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Bartley. One of the things about Attic Aficionados that I'm finding interesting is I'm having to become almost a scholar, or at least someone who has some background knowledge in the works of Brandon D. Camillo, which I guess historically I've picked up. I've got a lot of old memories, which I'm going back and reconnecting. But part of the interesting thing about Attic Aficionados is also that we're talking about almost exclusively contemporary things. Like, when I've described it to one of my co-workers, it's almost like there's an elephant in the room, and that's a majority of Brandon D. Camillo's prior work. So to be knowledgeable of his prior work when this doesn't really come up at all in the podcast is a very curious thing. My aim is to have an understanding, a sense of some of the topics, some of the directions that we could go through this particular recording, and so far things seem to be going remarkably successfully with this. I'm a little tired currently, which may preempt some interesting discussion this evening, but in general I think Attic Aficionados has really found an audience. This comes next, finding an audience. Different set of people seem to like each podcast, but there's no active competition between both of them, and I think both of them can find an audience nonetheless. But what I'm finding interesting with Attic Aficionados is the ability just to jam in a variety of different directions about a variety of topics that I wouldn't normally discuss in podcast form. And let's see how these things evolve. It's going to be interesting to see different audiences grow and change. I like orthogonal audiences. It's one of the things that I've liked about with Model Rail Radio as well, that I can explore an audience, and in particular how to grow an audience in a relatively dynamic fashion. And of course, Short Funk continues on, not necessarily as the red-headed stepchild of all my podcasts, but at least a podcast where, I don't know, core group of listeners, but not in any way an interaction with another person, not in any way something which needs to be not necessarily dynamically shaped, but at least merits some scholarly analysis. Let's just put it like that. Tom Bartley in San Jose, signing out.